Hello and welcome to this edition of Critical Mass Business Talk Show. I'm excited to have Dr. Campbell, who is the clinic director and entrepreneur behind Orange County Disc Associates. Dr. Campbell, thanks for being on the program today.
Thank you, Rick. Nice to be here.
It's always good to talk with you. You know, you've been in business for 14 years, and that's quite an accomplishment. I'm wondering, what was your motivation to start Orange County Disc Associates?
Yeah, well, actually, I've been in practice 37 years. In the last 18 years, we specialize in what we're doing now. And what motivated me to go in this direction was there's a niche that has not been filled yet on repairing the disc. When someone has a herniated or bulging disc, they're often referred to drugs, injections, and surgery. And there is a way to get around that without that. So I found that niche, and that motivated me to move forward. And I got together with groups of people that do the same thing. And we've been moving forward on that ever since and specializing.
So as an entrepreneur, I'm wondering, you know, after you started your practice, when did you believe that the business was going to succeed and kind of deliver on the promise that you had when you started it?
Right in the very beginning, Rick, when I first learned about and heard about the medical equipment and technology that we use, my first thought was, if what I'm reading is true, this is the future, and then this is my future. And it led me on a journey to really dig deep, do a deep dive and understanding on a couple things. And those couple things are how to talk my talk and walk my walk. What are we doing? You know, what's involved and so forth. And it took me on a study, which went on for many years. But I knew right in the beginning that success was inevitable because there's a market for people are looking for a way to avoid spinal surgery. And that's our tagline, is avoid spinal surgery.
So we're talking about, and I'll put it in layman's terms, you feel free to be more precise with your words. We're talking about people who have chronic back pain.
Yes, back pain, which expresses as pain down the leg or numbness or tingling or weakness. And in most cases, people who come to us have already been through the medical route of the recommendations that they've been getting, but they're not happy with the results. It's not resolving their situation. And they don't want to go down that drug, injection, surgery pathway. And they're looking for, is there another solution? And that's what we offer.
Okay, so take me back when you were reading a medical journal. I'm not sure where you first came across the technology that you are using now, but take us back to that time.
Yeah, actually, it was an advertisement that came in the mail, and I read it, and I did some research on what is this, and it led me to actually be the first person in Southern California to have this technology. And now here we are 18 years down the road with the newest edition of that technology. And the technology is the walk the walk part of what we do. But learning how to talk about it has been a journey that connected me with a very small group of doctors, 4 other doctors in different parts of the country, who we all do the same thing, and we all have grown together. And that's been quite a journey.
So that's got to be very powerful to be early in on a new technology that you're seeing such amazing results for your patients with. What has that been like, and what's the experience of the other doctors across the country who are using this technology?
Yeah, well, it's from an entrepreneurial standpoint, having this, changing my business to this specialty has been an entrepreneurial adventure, because you have to wear all hats, and it's your business. Now we're talking about a small business. I have 4 employees. My colleagues we're solo practices. We're not in some large group. And there really is surprisingly not a great deal of interest in people pursuing what I do because of what it requires to learn and acquire, the expense of all that. People are just happy to stay with the status quo of what they learned in school. And I wanted to take it to a new level because I saw something that was that I knew was going to be successful. And I know from my colleagues that they've made it successful. And we followed that path, and it has become very successful.
So let's go over the years as an entrepreneur in your business. I know that initially you felt you had a successful opportunity with this technology. You're obviously delivering on that. But was there ever a moment in time when you looked at your practice and you thought, hey, we're at risk here? Maybe externalities or something caused you to be concerned about the viability of your practice?
Every day. The very first risk of every day is, am I going to get up with my alarm clock, or am I going to hit the snooze alarm 10 more times? So risks are part of being an entrepreneur. We risk every time we market our practice in a very unique way. We use radio, we use Google, other things that we have used have been TV, television, and print ad. And whenever you put yourself out like that, you're taking a risk that nothing will happen and you lose everything. So there's a risk, but we've been doing it long enough that it's a calculated risk. And we know, and we experiment with that. And I take advice from my marketing people who are in charge of that type of advertising for me. They've been giving me very good advice, and things have improved in that direction over time.
So that's the reality of being an entrepreneur, is you have to find a business model that works and that delivers a profit and is successful, but you also have to stay relevant to what the current economy and marketplace are. So that's got to be over the span of the time that you've led your medical practice, something you have to sort of reinvent a piece of the business continuously, right? It's not always a static existence as an entrepreneur.
In our business, what we are doing is we are, as time goes by, we are slowly and methodically separating ourselves from our competition. So much so that we really don't have competition. And what we do is so unique that it's not something you're going to find around the corner, around the block, or in the county. It's just not really available. So we are always reinventing ourselves by creating nuances to improve what we do and create a sense of value and be able to describe that. My most important time in business is when I am with that patient for the very first time. And I'll be doing that today. I have 2 patients scheduled today who come in. They have no idea what we do. They may or may not have been to my website. They may have just heard about me. And we really have to teach them some things. And as I say in my video on my website, people are just missing the right information. That's all it is. And we provide that information and give them a choice so they can decide on their own if this is going to be in their best interest down the road.
Okay, so let's put you on the spot. I hope you don't mind, in a positive way, of course, Dr. Rob Campbell. We're not trying to embarrass you, but so you offer a unique treatment. If I understand correctly, it's called Disc Healing Solution. So for the audience that we have out there today live, or maybe you're going to hear this as a podcast in the future, can you explain to us a little bit about the Disc Healing Solution?
No, but I'll try. Well, the term Disc Healing Solution came about. People would ask me after I would explain what we do, and they would say, well, what do you call this? And I would go, yeah, I don't really have a name, but it is a disc healing solution. So I decided to trademark that phrase. And that's where that came from. Now, what it is a complete 180 degrees different from what is traditionally offered through standard of care procedures, which would be anything from laser, ultrasound, muscle stim, physical therapy, injections, chiropractic, acupuncture, different types of surgery and medications. Those are primarily dealing with the pain of their condition. So patients have symptoms, that's one thing. And they go to the doctor, and the doctor says, well, what's your problem? Well, I have pain. So now that becomes the problem, is treating the pain is where their focus is. Then they get a diagnostic test like an X-ray or an MRI, which they have to have before they come see me. And the MRI reveals that they have conditions, which is really an indication of how far along the road are they in this degenerative process. But the conditions and the symptoms don't tell us what the problem is. The problem, we have to dig a little deeper. So our procedure is designed in a very unique way to repair the normal physiology of the disc. And no one is explaining to patients that the disc even has a physiology, that it has an operating system. And basically what we've done is we reverse engineered how this process works in nature and replicated it using our technology. and created a 3-month program, which is someone has to commit to a 3-month process, but when they're done, and they move on with their life. And in most cases will not have to continue to go down the road that they don't want to go down, which is not going to repair the disc. And if they don't, it's like yesterday, someone said, well, what's your guarantee? And I said, well, I guarantee that if you don't repair your disc, it has a trajectory and will get worse. In other words, you can do injection. And by the way, the most common recommendation for a disc issue is an epidural steroid injection. The problem is that doesn't repair the disc. Everybody knows that, but they just succumb to that because that's what's standard. So we are outside of that standard. I like to say we create our own standard, which is to repair the disc. And that is a 20-minute conversation that we explain to the patient when they're here with their MRI, with them here, so I can see them. That way I can evaluate them as a person to determine what their prognosis might be with my care, because not everyone's going to get 100%. We had a guy a few months ago who I said, look, we're looking to get 50% improvement in your situation. And that's where he ended up. And he was happy. We don't want to have any unrealistic expectations. And we gather information from the data we receive. And my job is to explain what we do. And the upside of that, we want to give the patient hope, trust, and faith that there is a way that the body does repair itself. And if the body didn't repair itself, our procedure wouldn't work. So our system actually honors the physiology of the disc itself. Drugs, injections, and surgery do not honor the disc and can create havoc down the road. And we want to offer something that is natural, that is non-surgical, that is non-invasive, that is extremely safe. And with that, we're very proud to offer that procedure.
Well, that's a very empowering message, to believe that through your process, with time, the body can fix itself versus needing outside intervention. That's a very hopeful message.
Yes.
And that has been your experience in using this technology.
Yes, it has been. And we've seen it over a number of years now. And we have a great track record for that. And that shows in our testimonials on our website for that. Yeah. But the most important thing is we want to make sure that people truly do. And my objective when I meet with a patient like today for the first time is to make sure they understand what their problem is. They already know what their symptoms are. And if they looked at the MRI report, they could read what their conditions are. But no one has told them that the disc actually is failing. The normal physiology of the disc, which has an ability to bring in water and oxygen nutrients to itself on a regular basis, there is a way that it does that. And that delivery system is what's broke down, and that can be repaired because the research shows us that the disc has significant mechanisms of self-repair. And this is based on a study, compilation of studies, and that the strength of the disc is dependent upon the water content. If a part of the body isn't getting circulation, whether it's human, plant, or animal, that part of the body is going to die. And that's what happens to the disc. It's going through a process excuse me, called degenerative disc disease, but it's not really a disease, it's a process. So we have to teach them the truth about their condition, because in my opinion, people are being lazy because they don't know what to do to fix it, so they don't discuss it.
Right. It seems like,
and I don't blame them. It's not their fault. It's just we're different. That's all. We're just different than everyone else.
So what I'm picking up from our conversation, Dr. Rob, is partly that when people have pain, they want the pain to stop, and they're looking for a remedy for the pain. But what you're talking about is, let's look at the cause of the pain and see if we can repair that naturally, which to me sounds like there would be many people who would rather do a natural repair of their body rather than have a third-party intervention, either a surgery or drugs or something.
Yeah, and those are the people that we attract. When people see our marketing or they hear my ad, they're either going to be attracted to it or not. There are many more people who would rather go, well, my doctor said I need surgery, so I'm just going to go have the surgery. And we recommend people. Now, I have sent this year already over a dozen people to surgery, and I hate to do that, but I have to understand what my limits are too.
Right.
And that's where the MRI comes in and is very valuable for that. And the patients we accept are the ones that I feel don't need to have surgery. We need to do our procedure to repair the disc to the extent that the disc can be repaired.
So an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Someone
Yeah,
great said that. And
it's true.
this sounds like the earlier you can get with a patient potentially, the better the prognosis for their recovery could be. Is that a fair thing to
Yes.
say? Okay.
Yes. Now, the earlier, if we define that, it isn't always age that determines earliness. It's
Okay.
to what extent, how far down the road have you gone in your degenerative condition? And the MRI reveals that. The MRI is the gold standard. We got to see the MRI.
So this is very interesting to me because I love to talk to entrepreneurs who have a differentiated offering. What I do know though is that whenever you are different, there are voices that speak out against that difference, whether it's in their marketing or their positioning. And so I'm just wondering, have you, over the course of your time as an entrepreneur with your practice, met with opposition from inside your industry, from the medical industry? And can you speak to that at all?
Yes. Just yesterday, a patient came in and with her husband, and she was told she doesn't at that point before she met me, she really didn't know what we were doing, but she was trying to explain based on my website what we were doing to her doctor, and her doctor said, no, that won't work. So there's ignorance out there about other options, or people might look at what we do and not understand it.
Mm-hmm.
So what I've had to do in order to offset that is create my own language. And that's why we trademark certain terms, we trademark our procedures, and we become unique and different and separate. And the more and more different we are, the more we are what we want to be. And our competition, which we really don't have any, can't touch us because no one's doing what we're doing.
Okay, so I'm going to paraphrase because what you just said gave me a little bit of goosebumps. The more different you are, the more you want to be as an entrepreneur. And I think I'm always looking for these transferable lessons because I think a lot in business is learnable from other entrepreneurs.
Absolutely.
There's stuff
Yep.
that's unique to your practice, but you're still running a business. And you just gave something that I think other entrepreneurs could think about, which is being different. As long
Yep.
as that's in congruence with how you see yourself and your uniqueness as a business, regardless of what the marketplace says, that's your power of differentiation, right?
Yes, and for me personally, how I deal with that is through my ability to focus on what we're doing. If you ask my staff, well, what's Dr. Campbell doing? Well, he's preparing. We're preparing. We prepare. Preparation is the key. And when preparation meets opportunity, we can have a good thing to focus and keep my staff focused. And for example, a while ago, we started a new patient on our program for their disc, and it's going to take a 3-month process to go through this. And the patient said, hey, doc, how am I going to do? Am I going to be okay at the end? And my answer, which is a focused answer in regards to what we actually do, was that at the end of your care, your disc is going to do great. Now, a person's disc can be improved dramatically, but it doesn't mean they're going to feel 100% better. But one more thing to add to that is that when our process is completed, where we've repaired the normal physiology of the disc, guess what? It keeps working. Now, when that happens over the next year, the disc continues to self-repair. Results continue. People don't need to repeat our program.
Wow. I'm so glad I'm having you on the show. This is such an interesting conversation that we're having. And earlier I said how much of business is common, and you kind of agreed with that as an entrepreneur. I'm wondering, where do you go as an entrepreneur to get and discover outside perspectives that help you to kind of run and grow your business and your practice?
Yeah. Well, part of that is I have colleagues in Detroit, Minneapolis, Pittsburgh, and Charlotte. We're all doing the same thing, and we're in touch with each other. I also I do a lot of reading. I read books to help with my, the books I read, my wife would never read. You know, she's reading novels and I'm reading how to improve my thinking or something like that, you know. So because I just love that kind of stuff. What can we do? What can we see? How can we be and really what it comes down to is when you're an entrepreneur, everything is reflected in what you do, who you are. In my situation, in a small business, I interact with patients at all times. I'm the one they're looking to for the confidence. Is this going to work? Well, he thinks it's going to work. The staff thinks it's going to work. It's worked before. I guess it can work for me. So as an entrepreneur, you have to be that face to let people know that it's going to be okay. The disc really can heal, which is a revolutionary message.
It is. So let's turn our attention. We only have a few minutes left here on the show, but I'm curious, what's your vision for Orange County Disc Associates in the future? Where are you taking the business, Dr. Rob?
Our vision, you need a mission statement that needs a vision. I'm going to read to you my vision. Our vision is to replace harmful and dangerous procedures like epidural injections and surgery with our 100% non-invasive, safe, and highly effective disc healing solution. So our future is to continue to offer our procedure in the face of whoever's going to say, what about this, that, and the other? It doesn't matter. We know what the truth is because we see it here every day. Sometimes I feel like I'm my own island. I'm here all by myself. I'm the one promoting this, and we have our little groups of people that get it and refer out and stuff like that. But we're such a small potato here compared to, the surgical industry or the epidural industry where, epidurals are done over 9 million times a year and they're not even FDA approved, but people accept them because their doctor says, well, that's what we do. And it may help for a while and kind of put things in the corner as far as pain, but it's going to come back to bite you sooner or later. And as long as the disc itself isn't being repaired, it's getting worse. So we need to address that quickly.
How would people learn more about you and your practice?
Google Dr. Rob Campbell, and I'm right there, my website and everything. That's probably the best way. When people ask, well, or I get this yesterday, one of my friends said, hey, I want to refer someone to you. What's the next step? So I send them just my contact information. They call the office. Now my office is going to sort out if they need an MRI. They can sort out if someone is even a candidate. Now, if someone's had surgery where they may have metal, where there's rods or screws, nuts, bolts, cages in their spine, we can't help that person. They're too far down the road. Nothing's going to change. And that's sad. It's too late. But when someone has, if they're, ahead of that situation, they've maybe been told they need surgery, we can still see them. So, did I answer your question? It sort of lost me there.
Yeah, no. And many people may be watching us on LinkedIn, and you can obviously find Dr. Rob Campbell on LinkedIn as well, which is one of the platforms that we're streaming today's interview on. So thanks for being a friend of our show and a member of this community. And I look forward to continuing to watch the success that you're having with your business and your patients.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you. I'd like to thank Gottlieb, Brackman, Reisman, because they proudly support this edition of Critical Mass Business Talk Show. GRR provides legal advice and guidance on all aspects of intellectual property, law, including patents, trademarks, and copyrights. If you'd like to learn more about GRI, visit their website at grr.com. And I hope you've enjoyed this interview I had today with Dr. Rob, and I hope that all of your business decisions will move your company in a positive direction.